How's it going, guys? Swifty Shots here with another deck profile which I promised you earlier in the week, which is a zombie build for this format. We are coming to the end of particularly this format with the next challenges just on the horizon, so a lot of this is applicable for next challenges as well. I just want to say that the main problems of the format have been Vanity's emptiness, which stops a lot of the zombie plays that you can do either through malicious and Plague Spreader, or through Mizuki, or through the Blue Blood Uni loop. So that's been a real problem that I've had to look at. Also, zombies do not have an inherent draw engine or an inherent drop to the graveyard engine, though they do have Koi Bandit, Mathematician and Card Troopers to work with, obviously. So there is that. But I've tried to come up with something that is slightly more meta-based rather than pure, and could work fairly well against most decks. I'm having some joy with it. At least against Rogue it seems pretty stable. It can go against Shadows as well. I haven't tested fully against Abyss. It does suffer a little bit against the Ten Knights, but if they get to set up, there's not a lot most can do anyway, so that's the state with that. So I'm just going to get straight into it and see what you all say. So we can start with the two Dragon, because this card, Shadow Dragon, this is the other part of the engine is Shadows, primarily because they this card lets you do block back row, so it's another way around Vanities, and it's basically in for that. The others are then Free Shadow Beast, because this card is easy as discard fodder for Master, is easy to reborn, is easy to get draws with. Primarily it's the draw engine of the deck. It's an easy thing to send, it's an easy thing to see go off Lightsworn part contingent of the deck as well, and it's not bad flipping up, so we run it for those reasons. It's quite good. The last Shadow we run is a Falco, just for I found it's really good at recycling either the Dragon or the Beast, because we run such a small amount of Shadow monsters. Also, you can use this with Malicious to make the bills, which is really strong too, so for that reason we have synergy with the Malicious, so that's why we have one copy. I would run a second if I had space, but I don't, so that's why there's only one of those. The other is 3 Mizuki. This is the one card I've been toying with, playing at different, maybe at 2 rather than 3, but I'm left in for the concept of next challenges. When that comes out and you get the Earth Shadow monster, this card is ridiculously good at just looping everything in really fast. So that's the reason why I've kept it at 3. It's with a view for next challenges. You could run 2 at the moment and potentially put another Falco in instead if you wanted to, or maybe another Lila would be really good as well when we get there. But yeah, then the 2 Zombie Master, because this wants to make XYZ plays really quickly, just a straight 4, because there's meant to be 2 Castell. So you just make the Castell to remove the board and then just swing, and that's really what the Zombie Master's for, just to put an extra beat stick on the board, give a bit more power, give a bit more stability to the deck. Then we have to plus the Plague for the malicious content in a moment to help us make our 8s really fast. After that we have the Maliciouss. This is actually still really versatile even under Vanities. You can make Crimson to stop Shadow. You can make so many good pushes. The only thing that really bothers it is Trivial next challenges, which we haven't got over here yet. And some of the Burn and Abyss stuff, as well as Wing Blasts, hurt this card quite a bit. If you can work around the Wing Blast before you put this out, then you get quite far ahead, which is really nice. And it also has synergy with Falco, and can be sent from the deck with the Shadow Fusion. So for that reason, it's really good and really synergetic. Onto the Lightsworn contingent, we run 2 of the Raiden because it's a really good starter. It's a really good way to put in the graveyard against a beta, and the Tuner is really good too. Has synergy again with the Mali, though I don't play the actual synergy of those 2 because the Leo I don't have in the extra deck, but it's something you can consider if you wanted to run it. I run the 2 Liars because more back row hate. 17 beat stick, level 4. It's really strong. If I see it first time, I'm really happy. I get more meals for Shadows and Zombies. It's really no drawback to running it in this deck, so it's just another MST back row hate, so it's in for that. The one surprise choice is the glow up bulb. With the amount of content that I can mill through this deck, the amount of stuff that I can send, particularly with the view of next challenges as well, this card becomes really strong at making the Ninja, I think it is, of the Shadows. Might get a name change yet. And you just get to use this, and you have Malicious in the grave, so you get 3 Black Rose in effect, or you can make command Maidies with a level 4 on the field. So for that reason, or 6 with the Beast, so you really get some good level manipulation. You get to send another card as well, which is really, really cool. So you get all those things, and it's just so good for just making something for free. So for that reason, it's in. The last card was the final for monsters is the boss monster of BLS, because we have Light and Darks. I toyed with Dark Arm Dragon, but I just find that the BLS is more consistent all around, and so I was going to start teching a Wyvern, but then I don't have really any ways to banish the Wyvern without the BLS, so it's just stick with what you know, and the BLS is obviously match winner best card, so I stuck with that instead. Onto the trap spell, sorry. The one of Super Poly, because I only run the one. If you don't know why Super Poly is in here, you really should know. I can do so much with Super Poly, so for that reason I got that. The one Book of Moon, pretty straightforward. I'm not going to talk about Book of Moon, it's pretty straightforward. The one Soul Charge, because we can level manipulate, we can make so much stuff with this. The one Regeki, because I find that we want to clear board really if we get behind with this deck, so I find the Regeki is really good for doing that. Allure for draw power, further draw power. This is one of the MVPs of the deck, the Foolish Burial, because you've so many targets. There's not really a time there's not a target for this, whether it be a Shadow Monster, sending another Light for the BLS, sending Malicious Plague or Mizuki. They're all really good things to drop, so this is really, really strong card to play, so there's no reason to not. The newest additions are Charge of the Light Brigade, just for those first turn extra meals and search for a Light Swarm monster that we really need. So for that reason, we play the Charge for that. It's really, really good. And the last spell was initially at 2, but I found 3 a lot better. Was Shadow Fusion. Although we have so few Shadow monsters within this actual deck, no more than 7, it's this card single-handedly says to your opponent, you can't make too many extra deck monsters against me. Once they know this build has this in it, they are more wary to push too hard, which helps us make our 8s a lot simpler. It just means that we get to lock them out faster if they aren't pushing so hard against us. So for that reason, it's in. You get to send stuff from the deck as well. You get to send Mallies, Mizukis from the deck, Plagues from the deck, Light Swarm monsters if you have the Soul Charge ready, or the BLS in hand from the deck. This card provides so much more synergy to the deck, as well as putting something on board than I anticipated it to. That's why it's gone from 2 to 3. There's not much else to say. It gives you 3 draws, sets up your Shadow monsters. 3 draws, send a 3 draw for Beast, send in a Malicious 2, and then putting on the board a Winder is really, really strong. Particularly if you start with that or have that anywhere near with a Foolish Burial as well. So for those reasons, I love this at 3. Onto the traps. Just the one Compulse for removal. We played 2 Sinister Shadow games as well, because the ability to just give us 3 draws or give us a free back row pop is really, really good. We need that at times, and we also need to flip that Falco before he gets run over, so we have to have this out as well for that. So those are the reasons. I'm going to show the 3 vanities next, because I want to talk about Wind Blast in this build for a little bit. So the 3 vanities are also in here because we have to lock down BA, we have to lock down Burn Abyss, we have to lock down Shadow, and we have to lock down anything that's going to hurt us too badly, so that's why they're in. The last trap I've saved till last I want to talk about is Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, which we run the maximum of. I wish I could run more. I would run so many of this card if I could right now. Nothing in this deck really is bad to discard. Maybe like BLS of anything and Charge and Soul Charge, the one-off spells. We don't really want to get rid of from hand either, but seeing like double Shadow Fusion in this, you're just irrelevant. You drop that. Opening double this is actually really bad. It can suck. But if you draw the Mali and draw say Mizuki, then you're sorted. There's so much from this that you want to get to the graveyard with this deck that the reason this is in is so it makes it so strong. The reason I hear you say, probably some of you are saying why not Regeki Break 2 then. The reason I don't like running both is because if you see one of each and then say 2 one-off spells, you're going to invariably lose because there's just no game progression. You're only reacting to your opponent rather than doing your own reactions yourself, which is something you really don't want to be doing in competitive scenes with a subpar, let's be honest, Zombie part is subpar competition, so you don't really want to be just stopping your opponent and not progressing yourself. So for that reason, we have to run just 3 Wing Blast. That's the main deck really, so I'll just go through the extra deck. Some of it's not properly sleeved up because I just wanted to put together to show you what I've been testing and how it's been going. The one Abyss for Rogue and for Burning Abyss and Shadow, it's really, really strong still. You can make easy. The Castell and the Arc. The Arc would be another Castell if I had it. If you watch my video in the week, I only have 1 Castell. This would be 2, but in that case, we bring the Arc in, which does a similar job, but just not as well. So they're both for removal, both to spot off cards and just swing. They're really, really strong and easy to make in this build. So they're in for that. The one Lava Lord Chain, because foolishing a monster in this deck or setting on top anything we want is ridiculous. We can make this really easily. We can set up the traditional Mali Plague Mizuki play on top of having a Shadow Fusion, which is ridiculous. So we have this for that. The one Armides, because we can run 5s, we can make 5s, we can do stuff with 5s, so that's why we keep this in. Then we have the Revive King, a bit harder to make, really good against Shadow. This card stops flip effects on attack declaration, so they don't get anything like Beast, they don't get anything like any of them. They be it Burning Beast don't get their effects when ran over because it negates the effects in the graveyard. This card is really, really strong in this format. It's just so easy to remove. That's the only issue you have with it. And the other 6, of course, is Goyo, because it's 28 beat stick that can nick monsters. So it's just a problem solver for big monsters. That's why you have to keep this. Even if they remove it, they've A, played a back row, and B, this is just gone. So it's just fine. Like, you have to play this card because of the on-spot removal that it can perform in the battle phase. So that's why. We run 1/7 of Black Rose, sorry guys, Black Rose, because again, more removal. This deck doesn't have too many ways to clear back row, to clear the board straight up. So we have Regeki, but that's about it. And so we have to play this simply because we want to hit stuff. We can make it so easily with Shadow Beasts and with Falco, or with Plague Spreader and the Beast. So, or we can make it even with a Malicious and a Glot Bulb. So we have ways to make it fairly easily. So we won just the 1/7, and now we go on to the 8s, which there is quite a few of. Well, there's 3. We won the Crimson Blader. It was a choice between Scrap and Blader, and the reason I picked Blader is because if you hit over, say, Falco, and they don't set a construct again, or they set a window, and you're like, okay, if they take the fusion back, or you hit the window, say, and they take the fusion back, they cannot play that fusion next turn because all the fusion monsters are level 5 or higher. So this card against Shadow, in the Shadow part mirror, I suppose it would be, with this deck, totally wipes out their fusion play, which is insanely good. So that's the reason we won this card at the moment. We run 1 builds. There was a top up. Again, this is something I wasn't sure about, or Scrap Dragon. But this card has so many good matchups at the moment that it's ridiculous. Construct can't swing over this. They have to have had a set Dragon with Shadow. The only deck that finds it really easy to remove this on the spot is Burning Abyss, due to the triple Wing Blast that they play and the back to square ones, which really hurt this. The only other thing that can get around this is Castell. If you have this and a Vanity's Emptiness set, and they can't deal with the vanities, it's invariably game. It is really, really good. It's not a lock of sorts, but it's a really good way to shut down what your opponent can do in most instances. So for that reason, I keep this in. So that's why. The last deck's obviously Scrap Dragon, by the way, guys, because stopping stuff from dying is important. So particularly with this deck, you want to make boards that are fairly hard to get around, even with a Shadow Fusion or a Wing Blast. So make them pay resources. So that's why we play the Stardust Dragon. For the Shadow Fusions, this is not going to be the same after Next Challenges comes out, because we have to add Shang Ninjas, or Shake Ninjas, or whatever it's pronounced, to this. But for the moment, we run the 2 Construct because we have enough light targets, and the 2 Winders because we have enough dark targets. These won't be changing. This will go to 1. Shake Ninja will go to 1. And I probably will find a second room for Shake Ninja to the Earth targets. But that's basically it. So you know what the Construct does? It just sets up further plays, and this is our version of locking out on top of vanities for this deck. So we have the competitive side of Shadows, we have the milling component of Lightsworn, and we still maintain a decent zombie core of 6 cards, which isn't too bad, I suppose. Plus we have the Malicious for the zombie engine. So we have really 9 cards for the zombie engine. So we have all that. I hope you like this. It's something I've worked on for about a week, so I need to test it more against Burning Abyss, but it's fairly sturdy. It'll be something similar I'd run with Next Challenges coming up. So yeah, that's where we're really at with it. So what did you think, guys? Let me know what you think. And this has been Swift Death with a zombie profile for you. Look for more content in the future, and if you like this, give me a like and maybe a subscribe. That would be amazing. Okay guys, thank you. Over and out. Bye.